So far, we've seen that Paul speaks of the Eucharist as a sacrifice, connecting the Lord's Supper to a prophecy in Malachi where the sacrificial altar is called the table of the Lord. Now, not surprisingly, we also see that the early church writers, such as Justin Martyr and Irenaeus, also make this connection, identifying the Eucharist as the sacrifice that is described in the book of Malachi. Now, we also see this in the writings of Augustine, the great early church writer who's Bishop of Hippo. But he adds some important points to this I want to draw out. So first, Augustine connects the Eucharist to Malachi's prophecy. And this is what he says. In Sermon 229a, he talks about the sacrament. So just to get the context, he says, "You have all just now been born again of water and spirit." He's connecting John 3:5 here to baptism. And he goes on, "and can see that food and drink upon this table of the Lord's," here he's using the expression from Malachi 1 and from 1 Corinthians chapter 10 in connection with the Eucharist. He goes on, "in a new light, and receive it with fresh love and piety." Then he goes on to explain how he's obliged to give a sermon about what the meaning is of such a great and divine sacrament, such a pure and simple sacrifice. Note, the Eucharist is a sacrifice here, which is now offered, he says. And then he explains that Israel's sacrificial worship were just shadows of things to come. Here he's quoting from Colossians 2:17 and Hebrews 10:1. And then he quotes Malachi 1. "But from the rising of the sun to its setting," Malachi 1:11, "it is offered as the prophets foretold, and as a sacrifice of praise to God according to the grace of the New Testament." So what is the sacrifice? For Augustine, it's the whole body of Christ. Jesus, yes, but also Jesus who offers himself in the church. More on that in part 10.